Hello, hello, everybody. Good to see you. All right, I see Carletta, Mr. Daniel, Claire. Writing everybody's name, make sure I get everyone. And Mr. Eddie Blacknell, good to see you, sir. Thanks for driving all the way out last night. I know it was a hike for you, and you had a guest too. Misty, good to see you. Joanne, Jamie. All right. Oh, that's cool. All right, we'll give everybody, actually, no, we're already a minute over, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me pull up the spreadsheet on my end. And I believe, who did we finish with? We finished with Joanne last time. So let's see who we got here. Claire, Joanne. All right, Mr. Eddie Blacknell, you are up first, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Awesome, awesome. How are things going on your end?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing real good.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. All right, let's see here. Looking at your numbers over the last couple days, you've been doing some pretty good amount of reach outs, very consistent. Looks like you got a couple of customers, Pete. Tell me about that. What did these people say that made you go, you know what? I bet they're interested in getting their health better. What was some of the conversations that you had?
Well, actually, one of them was a guy who I was speaking to about some other opportunity. I mentioned about myself. I had some extra income streams. And so he was like, yeah, I'm just looking into investments. And so he and I were just talking. I was just filling him out. And he mentioned something about, man, I'm tired. And so I said, and I told him, I said, hey, I know how you feel. I used to be the same way. I say, but I found something that's not only helped me, it's helped my mom and so many others. I say with energy, I said, I no longer reach for a Monster or anything like that. He said, man, what is? So that's when you have a Facebook account? No, I don't do Facebook. Okay, fine. I say, can you give me, would you mind sharing your number? I'd love to share information with you. Sure, awesome. So I did that. And then he actually sent me a text message and said, hey, listen, good looking out. Great information you sent. I got to type some things, but I want to order next week. And what it was specifically was the nitro, is what keened his interest.
When you were chatting with him and you found out by asking to say, hey man, you just mentioned to me that you're a little tired and a little sluggish. What did you say to him that got from that point to what you were just saying? Fill that in for me a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, when he told me he was really sluggish and I told him what it did for me, I said, listen, I said, if that's something you really want to fix, is it something you want to fix? Yeah, man, of course. I'm tired of slinging down monsters. I said, okay. I say, if it's something you really want to fix, I said, I have some great information, but if I share this information with you, would you take the time to give it a look?
I want to pause right there on what Eddie's saying. So let's recap how he went down. He followed it perfect. Talking to somebody, knows something about him. A flag goes up. They basically just put the information right in front of Eddie and saying he's sluggish. And then Eddie digs in a little bit and relates to him. That was a key part that he did right there, is he furthered the rapport at the same time and kept sinking that in by saying, dude, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. And then that just causes them to go, oh, well, what's the rest of the story? What did you do? And so he got his interest on that whole thing. And then another key part that he did is that he sunk it in there with the, do you want to fix it? So then he's not chasing the guy and pushing something onto him. He's seeing if the guy wants something. That is such an easy part to switch over. We so quickly want to be able to take a problem that somebody has and fix it. And that's great, except you're not dealing with an engine. You're not dealing with a robot. You're dealing with a human being that has feelings and thoughts and concerns, and a terrorist and everything else that comes with the package. So you can't just go in on fix-it mode. Ladies, has your significant other ever heard you have a problem and they immediately want to fix it right away? Did you want them to fix it, or did you want to be heard? Kathy is grinning. Her cheeks are going to hurt here in a second. There's some real good advice, marital side, relationship-wise, and relationships with other human beings. They want to be heard first. They don't want you to fix it just yet. Ask permission before you go in there to fix it. All right? That's hard for some people, me included. Extremely difficult. I hear a problem. I want to fix shit. I don't want to sit here. It's broken. Let me fix. I don't need any more information. Let's fix the damn thing. No, that's not how it goes. So what did Eddie do? He said, do you want to fix that? Now he has permit. Heck yeah, man. What you got? Then what Eddie did is he edified and passed to the proof. He gave his testimonial of proof, but he then sent some information that was more proof. That's so powerful. If you have influence over somebody, then you can be that proof person, and you'll know if you have influence over them, you'll know if they're a peer, or you'll know if they have influence over you. That's typically the three ways that it goes. If you have influence over them, you can bring the heat if you have the information to do so, and you have the desire, and you've got the ability. This is set up so that you don't have to do that. You just got to point to the proof. That can be another person. It can be another leader, somebody other than you. And that's what Eddie did. Not that he can't do it, but he knows how powerful and effective it is to be able to send them straight to the information. So what information did you send him, Mr. Blacknell?
I actually, I keep a lot of links on my phone in my notes. And so the first thing I sent him was the triangle, the 4-minute video to the triangle. Second, I sent him Dr. Burke's Vimeo recording of the power of the Nitro Extreme, which is, that second one is about 27 minutes long.
How many?
Listened to, the second one is 27 minutes long. The first one was shorter. I also, since he was in the office there, I was able to let him look at a lookbook on the Nitro, and to that, along with my discussion, was so powerful for him to where he knew that he wanted to try to get this in his hands as soon as possible. And then I think the key to it all is all natural. Many people now, I'm finding, are much more conscious about what they're putting in their bodies. So when you tell them wild, raw, all natural, fruit and vegetables, those things seem to pique their interest a little bit.
There's so much good stuff he's laying down right now. I hope y'all are all getting this. He's coming prepared to the fight with the terrorist. Okay, he knows he's not bringing a knife to a gunfight. He brought a 50 caliber. He brought some grenades. He's ready to go. He's got all his stuff on quick draw, ready to go. He's ready to go. And so, what you got? What you got? Let me take care of this. And that's what he's got it in his phone. Eddie, what I'd love for you to do, if you don't mind, is grab those links that you have. And if you can send those over, if you put it in the chat session, that'd be great. And if you don't have to really do that with how you're zooming in right now, send it over into Power Hour. Just put it in a Power Hour, and that'll make sure everybody in this group will get that. And then those are some good things that they can have so that they can replicate what you're doing, because you got that thing nailed down, man. And then you also heard he had a lookbook too, right? So do you have a stack of lookbooks? Do you have them with you, or are they at the house? Do they have your sticker already in there so that when you hand that to them, they know how to be able to get home to you? Does it have your sticker with all your contact information, so when they leave it at a lobby somewhere and somebody else looks this thing up and they see it and they're like, man, I sure wish there was somebody that I could talk to. Do they know that they can find your information there? If you don't have all that stuff, you're showing up with a butter knife to a gunfight. That's good stuff, Eddie. That's really good stuff. So what's the next steps for this person?
He's going to order next week.
Love it.
And so he told me to make sure that I check with him and remind him around Wednesday, Thursday next week. So it's already in my phone. I have reminders.
I was about to say, I will put so much money on the table right now that if Eddie held his phone up to the camera, you would see it in his calendar. It would have a reminder, and it probably has a backup to it as well.
Yes.
It's those little things that's so easy to think that you're going to rely on your memory. Y'all, and myself included, you're too busy. There's too much stuff going on. There's too many moving parts. And if you're doing this right, some of the plates are going to fall off and fall down and crack unless you've got tools to help you go out there and spin them all. And that's what your calendar's for. So as soon as that happens, you must get in the discipline. When you're done with an interaction, before you put it in Drive and you leave that interaction, before you get on your phone and do some other task, before you call somebody back, you take 60 seconds and you put in your phone, in your calendar, what your next steps are. Now, here's the other deal. You can say, well, I don't do that sort of thing. I'm not as organized as you. That's a load of crap. That's all that is, okay? You don't have to be as organized as me, but you got to be successful in your business. And if you don't have a good way of keeping up with that, and if you say you're going to remember it, you're out of your mind. It doesn't work, all right? There's not a right way or a wrong way. It's does it work or does it not work? I don't care how you do it if it works. But when you leave it up to your mind, it doesn't work. That's all there is to it. So have a tool to be able to put that in there. And that's awesome, Eddie. Freaking fantastic work. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. While we're at it, you had a couple of others in there. You got any other stories you want to share or something good?
Yes.
Or what you got?
I actually have a couple of exposures that I had the epiphany today. These were follow-up people who I had spoken to who had seen product information, were interested, just hadn't pulled the trigger. So I wanted to up it a little bit. So what I did was I actually looked in my bag. I had a bottle of Sunset. I now keep in my bag with me. And so I went strolling, if you will. And I went, and I remember talking to at least two of them that talked about sleep. And so I went to one lady's office and I said, hey, and I said, hey, have you had a chance to look at the information? Yeah. I'm checking it out and everything. I said, okay. I said, well, why are you doing that? I said, did you mention something about sleep? How you sleeping? I'm not really sleeping that good. I'm having a problem with that. I said, really? I said, I told you about the product that we have. It's so awesome, right? Yeah. I said, well, is that something you really want to fix? Yeah, I want to fix it. I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. I don't do this for everybody. I said, give me a napkin. I said, I'm going to give you about 3 or 4 days worth. I say, this is the Sunset. And I showed him the gel cap. I said, smell that. I said, that's the purest form of vitamin E known to man. I said, we won the Grand Gold Award. I said, if I hand this to you, would you try these over the weekend? Yeah, sure, of course. I said these. I said the Sunset. Also, I said I've learned the research. I learned so much with our business. I said I love it. It's a mission-based business. I said I've learned that there are some nutrients in here that stimulate the HGH, human growth hormone, and when it does that, the human growth hormone begins to regenerate your body. It puts your body into REM sleep. I said that's why one of the first things that people notice when they try this is their awesome and amazing sleep. So of course she got excited about it. So I just counted out 12 and I said, okay, I'll talk to you next week. And I went to another's office, similar story, and I did it again.
That's getting it done right there. That's getting it done. You said 2 other really good things I want to key in on. He used the phrase, if I, would you? If I blank, would you blank? That is a classic. That thing is timeless. If you want somebody to do something and you want to come from a position of strength and not coming from a begging perspective, and that's how this whole thing is set up. You want to fix this? Cool. If I do this, will you do something? Because if you ain't going to do this thing, I ain't going to do my thing.
Right.
All right. I can give these 12 to somebody else that's actually going to use it. So you need to earn this from me. You need to dance for me and show me that you are interested in this. And if you're not, I know what I'm worth. I know what this is worth. We're going to go chat with somebody else. So if I gave you some of these, would you take it? If I connected you to a guy, would you talk to him? If I could share with you some information, would you look at it? If I blow my nose, would you throw it away from it? I don't know, man. It works for anything, right? So use that in anything that you're doing so that you're going to get a yes out of them. If I do this, would you do that? Yeah, cool. So they're already in that mindset being able to go. Okay. Another thing that he did was he connected the dots for somebody. We talk about this a lot on the business side, but realize that it's a matter of connecting the dots with another human being, no matter what it is that when you're trying to instill some new information on people, their default is to keep doing what they were doing. And all of a sudden you come in with this new stuff over here and you're a distraction to what they've got set up in their mind and what they're going to do. So that's why you got to get their attention by asking them, hey, over here, you have this issue. Is that something you want to fix? Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I do have this issue. Now you've got it in their brain. Do you want to fix it? Well, yeah, I want to fix it. Now you're leading down a path. But when you do that, you got to be able to keep connecting the dots for them. And it's real easy that when they realize, yeah, I want to fix that, they get lost on how, because when they hear they want to fix it, their mind goes into, I need to solve the problem. They're starting to come up with solutions. When that's happening, they're paying attention to that movie reel that's going on in their brain, and their ears shut down and they stop listening to you about 10 minutes ago. And here you are just bumping your gums, giving them all the greatest information in the world, which is what we need to do. But you got to make sure that they receive that information. Some of y'all get going, you get excited, you started reading some stuff, you started hammering with it, and it's good information. Y'all are doing great on learning what this thing does. But you got to make sure the message is being received. You got to make sure that they are making it down the path to getting the product or getting down the path to becoming a distributor if they want to. We do it on the distributor quite a bit, but you got to consider the same on the customer. And so what Eddie was doing when he came back is he realized they didn't connect the dots. You want to get some more sleep? Yes, I do. Well, why the hell haven't you done anything? Because they don't know what to do. Well, I told them that's all great that you told them. They didn't hear you. It's on you to make sure that they heard you. You gotta check back in and as you're telling them, say, hey, is this all making sense, or am I just like losing you completely? Because if I did, that's on me. They don't want to look stupid. Does this make sense? Oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. Let me get out of this situation and go back to my regular day, because here's the key, I'd rather not sleep and look smart than step up and look stupid and get some sleep. And if you think I'm lying on that one or I'm wrong, you haven't talked to enough people yet. So connect those dots for them and make sure you get in the trenches with them and make sure they are going from one step to the next step. Sometimes we go too fast. It doesn't matter how fast you're going. You got somebody on your back, and it doesn't matter if you cross the goal line with the information. Do you have your person with you? You get over that goal line, it's like, we got there, we got them all the information. You look back and they're gone. That didn't really work. So make sure that they are connecting those dots as you go on customer side and business side. It's good stuff, Eddie, man. You were getting after it.
Hey, I have one little short thing I'd like to add.
Please.
And I think this is a learning moment for me, could be for everyone else. I had one guy who actually committed to enroll last month and this month. He left the company, still hadn't done it. And then all of a sudden in my mind, he sort of went ghost because he wasn't responding to anything I was sending him. Brian and I talked. So Brian says, well, hey, go in and pull it. He said, go back to his experience with the product. You know that it helped him. Go back to him and go at it from a customer perspective. And I did that. I sent him a text and said, hey, listen, I'm not going to, I'll put back on that because I see obviously the time is not right or something. I said, but you remember your experience, you have the product. If you need to get back on the product, I'm seeing some wonderful things go on. And so I still didn't hear anything from him. And so I sort of stepped back. But today he sent me a text message and he says, hey, man, he says, I just saw your text. He says, that number was from my other phone when I was over there at Huntsman. He said, this phone, he says, I'm going to give it to my sister. I went in to check the messages and I used iMessage and I saw your message. He said, yeah, great looking out. Yeah, I need to get back on the product. He says, I'm going to set a reminder. Give me a call next week. I want to order next week. And so I just say that to say, even though we may put them on the cold side, don't curse them out.
That's really good. That's really good. And it's easy to get yourself in your own brain on all the reasons why they didn't do anything because they didn't come back in the time frame that you expected, which is the time frame they gave you, and therefore you expected them to do what they said they were going to do. Yes. That doesn't always happen, and then we start building up a wonderful story to go along with that, and you did a great job on being able to push your terrorists aside and saying they're not going to join. This happens all the time. Everybody just shows up missing. Nobody pulls the trigger. You can come down that whole path, or you can just simply get into action, and that makes all that nonsense go away. And that's what you did. Found out that, hey, man, it's just a communication thing with the tool, very legitimate thing on what happened, and you did the follow-up, which is the important thing. So many times we'll get to that point in the conversation where it's time to do the follow-up, and we'll just write them off. There's a statistic out there that most people make a buying decision. I think it's something around the lines of like 95% of all buying decisions are made between the 5th and the 12th exposure. Okay? There's another statistic that like 95% of salespeople give up after the 2nd exposure. So 1 to 2, and they're done. But people don't make their decision until 5 to 12. All you got to do is the smallest little thing. You've done all this effort. You built all this rapport. You asked all these questions. You got all the answers. You've done all this stuff, and then you drop it literally at the 99-yard line. And all you had to do was call them 2 more times. That's just until you get into the power band. And after that, that's at number 5. You got 7 more times that you need to hit them. And when you do that and you follow up, guess what? The numbers are the numbers. It's not magic. It's the stupidest thing ever. You just got to do it a couple more times. And Eddie, that's what you, and Eddie is probably on like number 23 with this guy.
Yes.
All right. Because again, 5 to 12 is the average. That means some people do it on the first one. And every time there's a unicorn that does it on the first one, there's some people like Anthony that he's dealing with right here that's like number 47. Okay. So just keep, and Eddie's not spending a lot of time each time with them. He just hitting them up fast. And then he goes and tends the rest of his garden. So key, man. This is some really good stuff you shared tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, good work, Eddie. Keep it up, sir. Good stuff. All right, let's move on to our next contestant. All right, we're going to drop them out of, I'm going to just go ahead and take care of that right now. Excuse me while I do a little maintenance and delete somebody who was in here that hasn't done anything. Delete. Bye-bye. All right, next up, we've got Mr. David Jones and Ms. Tarbush. I believe these two, if y'all might have heard, they, I don't know, there's something like, let me see here. I'll make sure I get this just exactly right. But, oh, yep, that's right. They are the number 4 monthly top team retention leaders in the entire North American continent.
What's that mean?
How y'all doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad. If I haven't said in a while, I want to say this for everybody. I'm glad all of y'all are in this fight with me together. This thing is so cool. It's so great when we see everybody doing what they're doing. And it's awesome to see you two, especially with all the hard work that y'all put in, getting that recognition. So well deserved.
Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
Great leadership.
Ha! I appreciate that too. Thank you. I love it. Awesome. All right. So let's look a quick look here at the numbers. Only 16 follow-ups yesterday. I mean, all right. That is awesome. So 16 follow-ups yesterday, 26 reach-outs today. Give me an idea on, for that high of a number. I know there's 2 of you, and I also know that y'all are extremely busy with everything else that goes on in y'all's lives. Give me an idea on how, because when somebody looks at your numbers, their first question is like, holy crap, where are they finding all these people? How are they talking to all these people? Let's start there.
I'm actually going out and hitting doors. I'm actually going to doctors' offices, chiropractors, and hitting doors and finding out who the office manager is, finding out who the actual person I need to talk to, and rolling from there.
Gotcha. So just so everybody knows, these are people that he does not know prior to going up and talking to them. But here's something that's very, very interesting that I bet you 80% of you have probably already made the determination of, I can't do that. Here's the deal. Every single person can do that, because what did he do? Did he come up and leap over tall buildings in a single bound and then walk in? No. He opened up the door, he walked in, and he said hello. Y'all have all done that to complete strangers before. You have said hi on the elevator, in the bathroom, I don't know what, but you've all done it. So can you do what he's doing? You can think that I can't do that. You can absolutely do that if you retrain your brain, if you reframe the situation. If you take your glasses off and put some new ones on what Mr. David Jones looking at, he's saying, this is another human being. They put their pants on the exact same way that we all do. They had breakfast just like I did. Good chance that they got something going on, and they darn sure have access to influencers and choke points of where a lot of people come and gather. And that's what he's doing. So when you're listening to what he's saying, I wanted to stop him up front because I want y'all to tune in and not tune out going, well, I'm just going to wait till the next person starts talking because there's no chance of me doing this sort of thing. You absolutely can do this thing. So keep going, sir.
So, I mean, that's more so all I'm doing is finding out who the person is I need to talk to, and getting the business card, and then seeing if I can set an appointment right there on the spot, or, being able to send them an email and put an email together and send it back to them and call back later. That's a lot of those numbers are where they are.
Nice. Now, do you get a lot of people that say, no, they don't want to do any of those things?
No, because I'm not telling them anything about the product. I'm doing this. I'm following the cue sheet to the T. The chart that we created, I'm following that just like it was with another person. I'm having a conversation.
Notice he is not. There's no separation between him and this other person. He doesn't know him. Doesn't matter. Y'all all breathe oxygen. You're all in the same home. You're still all on planet Earth. They don't have an extra 2 or 3 arms or anything like that. He's just having a chat. That's so powerful. I hope this clicks and breaks through in your brain. So many of y'all, I had a chat with a lady earlier this morning. She goes, I don't know a whole lot of people. And then in the next sentence, she's talking, saying hi to people as they're walking by. I'm like, let me connect the dots for you. There's a whole bunch of people within a very small radius from where you sit right now. You just got to figure out a way to go talk to them. What's the very first word that you say to these people when you walk up to them? Do you say like boo or Kayani, or what do you say to them?
Hi, how you doing? Wish it was Friday.
Anybody else, raise your hand if you can do that. 4 of you can do it. Cool. Okay, there we go. I'm really harping on this because a lot of you are sitting around and you're like, I don't really know how to talk to new people, or where do I go to find more people to talk to, or I've talked to everybody, I've hit my list. Let me go through my list again, and all those people that didn't want to do anything, that are deadbeats, let me go talk to them one more time. I might be able to convince them because I got this little group of 15 people that I feel comfortable with, so I'm just going to keep talking to them over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Or walk up to somebody else, say, hi, how you doing? You excited that it's almost Friday? That's huge. That's huge stuff. All right. Let's look at some more of these numbers.
Casey, I want to add something to that because
please.
The whole point that we're talking about is everybody kind of glazes over when everybody hears David Jones is, knocking doors, including myself. I want everybody to understand that just because we are doing this together doesn't mean that I'm doing the same thing he's doing. And what I want to share is one day we went out, and you have to understand the company he used to work for, David Jones, this is where he learned to do it. That company drove me crazy at my old 9 to 5. So I had a big stigmatism on the backside of the gatekeeper that didn't want people in. So I was the person that didn't want you walking through the door and harassing me. And so I had a huge story around that. So one day we went out, and this was a couple months ago on a Saturday, and we had hit one place, and I listened to his spiel of how he did it. And so the next one, he's like, well, I'll let you go ahead and introduce and kind of lead off, and then I'll pick up, and I'll carry the weight. we stepped foot in there and I said hi, and it was two guys. It was a gym. They had two guys, and they made eye contact with me. They said hi. I introduced myself. I introduced David. And then I was going to go in to say a little bit more. Next thing I know, I carried the entire conversation. David sat there and looked around at the gym equipment the entire time. And I said, okay, great. So, do you have a business card? Who would that be? Who I need to talk to? It all started with, guys, it was literally like, hi, I'm Tara. Now, everyone on here has met me. I have to except for Miss Carletta. Everybody on here has met me. You all know that it's all, hi, it's the greet. It's this. It's the first thing you do. If you bring energy to the conversation, y'all, they're going to listen. That's all I got to say. They're going to match your reaction. And the only thing I can say is, what are you guys saying to your friends and family that you're knocking doors on them and you're banging your head against the wall because they won't do something you want to do? You're having the same conversation. Go have that conversation with a gatekeeper, which used to be me. I can tell you, I'd much rather have somebody who came to me, said hi. Yeah, it raised my flags while you're asking me these questions, but I was polite because they were polite. And when you got through that, then you broke down and built some rapport with that person. That's the person you want to build rapport with, y'all, is that front person. I went out with two of our business partners, Leah and Victoria, and I did that with them. And the same thing is just, I did it on my own without David. So I just want you guys to know that. So I don't want to go down a rabbit hole.
No, this is what this is all about. This everybody's heard me enough for the last year for Power Hour. They hear the same. I run out of good jokes and I run out of good stories. So this is my way of being able to get another. Honestly, why do I do the summit? It lets me know where the organization's at. And that's why I got a big stupid grin on my face, because y'all have made so much progress. I see you all out doing the things that we do. And it's a great way of being able to check the health of the organization and making sure everybody's doing what they need to do. And it also allows for the new folks that have come on board, the Chanels, the Carlettas, to be able to experience this. And then we got so many more people. A lot of people, I'll say that here in just a second, but we've got so many people that are, brand new in this group that are checking this out. And we've got a whole bunch of people that have done these before, and being able to see that and how that goes. Tara, you're doing exactly what I want this to be done, and sharing other stories. It's like a testimonial last night. When we did the presentation, I did my thing. Everybody loved my presentation. Nobody came up and said that sucked. So I'm assuming it was okay. But the guest, 2 of the 3 that were there, mentioned the key part was, hey man, great presentation. And I really love those testimonies. They're expecting the person up front to do that part, but hearing the testimonies of the other people on the team is so powerful that everybody else to hear, yeah, that's great. Casey's doing that. He should be doing that. He's been doing this for 10 years. He should be further along than he is anyway. So yeah, we're expecting that to happen. But what about everybody else? And when you all share your stories and your insights and the dots that you're connecting and the revelations that you're having, it sinks it in, or it brings awareness to that to the other people. That's the power of the summit. That's what this is all about. It's really good stuff. Something else I'll also mention is great job on all of y'all being here on a Friday night. This is the first. You'll notice the size of the group right now, right? We've got 16. We were up to 16 people, 15 people earlier, and we've already lost somebody. Could be a connection, who knows? But the night before, we had 29 people. So 13 people aren't here tonight. Now, they got the mulligans. That's what the mulligans are for, Friday night, everybody. But it's very interesting to see how that goes down. And I'm not picking on anybody that's not here. Please understand my point. My point is, this is the first test of a summit to see who's going to make it through. I told all of y'all, everybody's going to rope up. We're going to pull them all the way up the mountain. The only way you're not going to succeed is if you grab the rope and you cut it. Nobody's cut the rope, okay? I'm just saying it is an interesting observation for you all to see, and I want to commend you on you made it through that first one. Again, the mulligans are there. I want people to use those. That's what we're doing. But you will notice that this is the first step, and then over time, you're going to notice that people won't complete this task. I want to bring that to your attention, and I want to give you the antidote to that. On this little piece of paper, Y'all have all seen it before. This box right here, that's the antidote. Okay? You get snake bit on the mountain, this is where the antidote is. So before I move on to the next person, I want to really sink this in too. When you're going up this mountain in Kyani with the Jade Factory or Team Fusion or whatever group you're associated with, when you're going up this mountain, you will be tried. You will go through trials. Life, all kinds of different things are going to happen. If you let life beat you down, that's why you haven't achieved your desires yet. You let life get bigger than your desires. Now, life happens. Things happen. Just don't let it be permanent. Don't let it get a toehold. Don't let it keep beating you against the side of the mountain when the wind's blowing and slapping you against the mountain and making you get tired. Focus on where you're going. Keep focusing on where you're going. If you're driving a car and you do any type of race car driving, they'll always tell you, do not look at the wall. Look at where you want to go. So when these issues pop up, when things happen, when you're feeling tired, you had a long week at work and you've blah, 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 blah. Kids are sick. My whole family's sick as a dog right now, okay? But I'm going to be here because I said, unless I am running 105 fever and I black out, I'm going to be here. That's just how it goes because I set my mind to what that is. Make sure you guys continuously do that. When you write down that why, it must be specific. I was talking to a lady today. We were doing basically a relaunch, an extended launch would be a better definition. And when we were going through it, I said, remind me of what your why is. And she says, I want to travel. I was like, okay. And as she's saying that, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm not moved. I'm not excited. And she was getting ready to move on. I said, let's go back to the travel thing. I didn't feel it. Where do you want to go? Well, I don't know. Anywhere. I was like, how about that? And I paused and I said, if I got on my GPS right now, could I find that location? And she laughed, no. I said, well, where do you want to go? I don't know. I said, okay, where would you like to go? I asked the same damn question over again, and then it flashed in her, and I want to go back to Greece. And we talked for the next 15 minutes about Greece. We talked about where she's going to stay. We talked about the beaches. We talked about the last time she took that trip with her mom, a long time ago. We went down. We built an itinerary. She could hand that thing to a travel agent, and they would hand her a commission. We locked it down. $12,700 is what it's going to take to go on a 10-day trip for all the things she wants to do. We figured out hotel, flight, food, transportation. She's going to have a drive around all over the place, drinks, wine, tipping the pool boy, whatever, right? All these different things. And when we got done with that, the energy that she had was insane. Her state, her way of being was completely different. She was excited. And for the next hour and a half, we go through a training, and she's jazzed, man. Completely ready to rock and roll this thing. Is she going to stay in that state? No. The wind is going to slap her against the mountain. And it's going to slap y'all against the mountain. And maybe it slapped a lot of people tonight. I know it's Friday, and I know a lot of things happen on Friday, but I also know that some people just had a rough day. And it's Friday, and you get it in your head that Friday's when you're supposed to take it easy, and that's why the numbers on who's here tonight are low. And I also know that there's flights delayed, and there's all kinds of other stuff, so I'm not picking on any specific person here. I'm just letting you know whenever, and it's going to happen if it hasn't already happened, this is our, fourth night into this thing, and we're already having people coming up missing on the side of the mountain. That some of them will be back, but some of them won't. So here's what I want you to do. If you recognize that somebody's not here, don't beat up on them. You're roped up to them. If you notice somebody's been, don't go call everybody, but pick one and just say, hey, just want to check in with you and see how you're doing. Give them that support. Expect that support from your team later, and get back into your why. Always reframe it back to the why. Okay? Before I move on, Mr. Jones or Ms. Tar, you have anything else you want to share on your experiences for the last couple days? Any big ahas or anything like that you want to share? If not, if you don't have, no worries. That was some amazing stuff, y'all. I just want to give you that option.
I mean, just to follow up with what you said, you know, it's really, you have to be able to tell yourself, are you committed to this or are you attached to this? You know, when you're committed to something, no matter what happens in life, no matter what mountain you're climbing, no matter what you want to do, you're committed to make it to the top. You know, when you're attached to something, oh, shit, I got to go work out. I got to climb this mountain. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be upset. My feet are going to be swollen. You know, you give yourself every excuse in the book, you know, to not do it because you're attached to it. But when you're committed to something, you know, that makes it a different scenario. That makes it a different story. That makes it a different journey. And that's what we all have to remember, that, you know, I, on a consistent basis, time and time again, before I walk into a door, before I make a phone call, you better believe that little terrorist is sitting on my shoulder saying, hey, don't go in there, or they're looking at you crazy, or, oh, you don't know what they're going to say. You know, I fight it on a daily, but I'm aware of it, and I'm committed to my goal, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I encourage you guys to not just talk about it, be about it. You know, you want to do something, go do it. And that just doesn't go to this. Yeah. And what Kate's talking about, that wind, is going to get you in a heartbeat. You know, some of us are probably sitting on this call now, sitting there saying, yep, he got me earlier. He got me earlier. I didn't pick up the phone. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. That plays out in your life and everything. Kayani will teach you what plays out in everything. You don't conversate at work. You don't conversate in this. So I would just leave it at, you know, be committed to your dream. Don't be attached to it.
That's good stuff. That's really good stuff. I'm looking at the time. We're about 3 minutes from calling it a night. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night because there's nothing better to end on than what he just laid down for everybody. That is just good stuff, man. I know when the mic has been dropped and there's no point to keep going. So I'm going to give y'all 2 minutes back on your Friday night because y'all did such a great job. We will see you all tomorrow. We're going to be at it on Saturday. Then you get Sunday off, and then we got the first week done. Okay, so y'all done great. 4 down, 1 to go to get this first week under our belt. Thank y'all for everything you're doing. I'm going to unmute the line so everybody can say good night. If you need to stick on and ask me anything, please feel free to do so. And y'all have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Hey, Casey, I have to ask you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just got my product today.
Cool.
So I haven't had a chance to take it, but I have MS, and I also had a gastric bypass. So I don't absorb vitamins very well. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, I take 2 multivitamins a day. Mm-hmm. And I also take like 10,000 units of D3 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, if I'm drinking these packets, I notice that I have excess, I have over iron in my body. So I can't take anything that has iron in it.
Okay.
So I was just wondering, as far as I saw on one of the packets that had D3 400. So I was just wondering, is that going to put me too much over my D3 levels?
I don't believe so, but I will first start off by saying I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to give you an advice that can cause you any sort of issues because I don't know all the details of what even if I did, I wouldn't know what to do with all the details. And so, but I will say this, I will tell you the information that I do know, and then you can make the best decision for you on that. But people typically have a very low vitamin D levels. This is from one of our doctors on the Scientific Advisory Council, Dr. Andreas. He talks about it quite often. And so my understanding is that if you get to a point where your body is saturated with those vitamins, your body is going to eliminate the excess through waste. Okay? And so with you having as you mentioned, an issue with absorption, these items are they're very, very high, one of the highest ever in bioavailability, meaning it is easy for your body to be able to make use of this, much easier than it is from typical, and I don't know which ones you're taking, but typically a multivitamin. Is it a liquid form multivitamin, or is it like
it's a chewable.
It's a chewable? And so those are better than the hard ones, but your body still has to break that down, and it's not as bioavailable as these items because these are in liquid form. The Sunsets, once that dissolves, and it's very easy to dissolve because it is a plant-based. For the Nitro, it's already straight liquid form, and there's nothing to break down. And the Sunrise is also already in the liquid form, and you don't have to break that down. So you've got a tremendous transport mechanism for getting this into your body and into your system. So from the D side, I really don't believe you're going to have an issue with that. If you're already taking, did I hear you say 10,000 units of that today?
Yes.
I can tell you 400 more statistically is a small amount in the grand scheme of things. I think we're talking 11,000. So you're looking at less than 3% increase that you would have in that. So that's where I'm coming from for what I'm telling you. I'm just doing the math on it. You're looking at a 3% increase on your D3. I don't think it's going to cause you any issue, because if you do get too much of it, your body's going. You ever notice that when you take certain vitamins and then you go to the restroom and you notice that it's, electric green, neon green, or whatever coming in out of your body as waste. And what that is that you basically flushing down your vitamins down the toilet because your body wasn't able to absorb them because it had to break them down. And by then it was already past where it could have been absorbed. And so that's why when you drink, and my family's been, like I mentioned, going through a lot of illness here at the house just because bad bugs come through, and I think it's eating up all of Houston. And then a couple of us went to the rodeo, so I think we caught something from that. But I can tell you, for me, I'm usually, back in the day, I'd be out of commission for 5 to 7 days, and I had a blip on the radar for about 2 days. A lot of that's mental, a lot of that's just keeping active, but the bigger part of it is I have been drinking Sunrises like they're going out of style, and I'm drinking Nitro, almost by the bottle full. And I can also tell you that I probably took 7 Sunrises each day and no change in coloration of my urine because my body is using all of that. So if your body isn't going to use it, it's going to get rid of it.
Okay, thanks.
Does that help?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, very good. Excellent. And are you clear on what you need to do now that you got your product? Do you know how to use it?
Yes.
Okay. You know what to take, at what times to take, all that good stuff?
No.
Okay. Well, while you got time for me to share with you on that?
Sure.
Well, where we're at now in the cycle, have you taken any of them yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I just got it today.
Okay, perfect. So what I would do is I would go ahead and start with the Sunset this evening.
Okay.
And what that is that's going to be the Sunset bottle, and it's the one that has the 90 capsules inside of it.
Okay.
And when you shake it, it sounds like a maraca. So that's how you know that that's the right one. It says Sunset on the side of it. And what you want to do is open that up. There'll be a little protective covering over it. You pop that open, and then you grab 3. You just need 3 of those to start with. And you take that with a glass of water, and you're going to be set for that. What time do you usually go to bed?
Probably like 10, 11.
Okay, that'll be perfect. It's not too late for that. I usually go to bed around midnight, 1 o'clock, and I usually take it about 40 minutes before bed. Some people will take it right when the sun goes down. Everybody's different, but you can go ahead and take it tonight and start that in your system, and there's a real good chance you're going to sleep even better than you normally do, depending on how well you sleep.
Okay.
In the morning, what I would suggest is when you get up is to get the Nitro. And if you have, depending on the box that you got, if you see some Nitro Extreme, I would recommend that one over the Nitro FX, just because from a health factor, and this is from doctors that are on our team that have mentioned this, the Extreme is so much better for you because of the extra items that it has in the Extreme. And so it's not that the other one's bad, it's just this has so much more stuff in it. It's got 5 more items that are in it that's extremely good for your body And that's why we talk about the extreme so much. So I would start with that. And there'll be if you look in there, you'll see a 56 milliliter bottle of that. It'll say Nitro Extreme. And then it'll have a little eyedropper. And then when you put that in there, the eyedropper is going to be graduated. And if you look on the side, you'll see a milliliter, and it's about 3/4 of the way up. And what you'll do is put that eyedropper in there, squeeze it 2 or 3 times in fast succession, and it'll go ahead and fill that up. And if you get a little bit more in a milliliter, there's no issue. I take 3 milliliters in the morning, and I take that right when I first get up. And so I would do the same for you. Go ahead and take a milliliter, which is 1 eyedropper full, and take that in the morning. Then, ideally, in about 5 minutes after that, grab your Sunrise, and that's going to be the blueberry pouch. That's going to be the 1 fluid ounce. If you got the packets, if you got the bottle, then you get the bottle and you pour yourself a 1 ounce pour of that. And then you just drink that straight down. And that'll take care of your morning regimen. That's all you got to do in the morning.
Okay.
Then at lunchtime, what I would recommend is after you eat, take another milliliter of the Nitro. Same thing, just 1 eyedropper full of that.
Okay.
And then in the evening, then do the Sunset again, and that'll have completed your full cycle.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's all there is to it.
I got both of them. I got the extreme and I got just the regular one.
Perfect. Again, no, there's no problem with the FX. It's just the extreme's got chromium, magnesium, and a couple other things that are awesome for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. All right, very good. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Mr. Carter, do you need me or are we just hanging out?
I'm hanging out. If Eddie doesn't have much, I wanted to talk to you about something that might take 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Well, I just have one quick comment.
Go right ahead, Eddie.
I know I had not replied. I had a chance to reply about about our event last night, and I know this was probably due to our company there, but I've always noticed that when you mentioned about improvements, and this may be something that's out of control, that music is very instrumental. I think energy, and I know we were probably limited to what we could do with the volume there last night, but I think that also adds a bit of excitement. Always has for myself.
So make the music louder when we got started?
Before.
Okay. I love it. No, that's really good. That's really, really good. And no, I'm paying for that room. If they don't like it, they can go somewhere else. So no, that's really good. I appreciate that feedback. I had not heard that one yet, and that's really good. And you make a really good point, man. Absolutely. We need that thing thumping and get the blood pumping. So
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Good point.
good stuff, Eddie. I appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir. You guys have
Awesome.
a good night.
All right, you too.
Good to see you.
Okay.
All right, sir. I want to say